Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and with It Chapter 2 now in theaters, I thought this would be the perfect time to stop and rank all three It movies from the worst to the best. In this list, I'm also going to be including the It 1990 miniseries. Technically, this is just a miniseries that came on late night TV, but eventually it was edited in together, and it's considered a movie. I consider it a movie. Lots of other people consider it a movie, so I am going to be including it in this list. One final thing I want to add is that I have already reviewed It Chapter 2. You can see that one up in the channel. Go check out that video after this. But anyway, with all that said, let's get started. Coming in at last place for me, I'm going to go with It 1990. Now, going into this film, I had never read the books, and I had never seen the 2017 one, so I didn't really know the full plot. I was a little concerned, especially the fact that after I finally figured out the plot, it was still just, I just couldn't really get into it. Like, I have lots of problems with this movie, like terrible CGI, terrible acting. Even in this movie, they actually get quite a lot of good casting members. Like, there's actually some pretty famous people in this movie that no one really remembers were in this movie because they picked such a weird, cheesy movie to be in. And it's amazing to see, like, they got some of these famous actors to play in these roles, and they were just terrible acting in this movie. Another thing I want to talk about is Pennywise. Pennywise, I noticed that Pennywise wasn't in this movie enough. Like, if you edited his screen time in together, he only had like 9 minutes. And like, the opening, there was the sewer scene, the scenes where he's tricking people, the scenes where he's tricking the kids, and the scene where the kids fight Pennywise, and then the scene where he's a spider. And also, I don't really include this spider scene because in this one, if you've seen It Chapter 2, in the minor spoilers coming up, if you've seen It Chapter 2, the final battle was when he turns into the spider. It's not really a spoiler because we all knew it was going to happen, but in that one, they actually make it look a little realistic. Like, he's kind of like a clown spider. So I would consider that as a Pennywise scene. This movie, I don't consider, in It 1990, I don't consider the spider scene as a Pennywise scene because it's not even a clown spider. It's just a spider. Like, it looks terrible. It almost looks as if they took a toy spider, put it behind a green screen, and then edited in to this movie. I was just like, what? Like, I just really did not understand what they were going for with this movie. It was just like, it was kind of just like out of the blue, random. Like, honestly, for me, guys, out of the It franchise, this is the most disappointing, the most unwatchable, and honestly, just a bad movie. Like, even going into this movie, my mom was telling me stuff like, oh, you gotta appreciate it for what it was, because that's like all the CGI that we had back then. And I get it. I do I get it, but a movie that came out years before that, Star Wars, had better CGI than this. So I just did not like this movie. You can check out my review for it up in honestly, this is one that I am probably never going to rewatch, so it comes in at last place. Our runner-up is going to be It Chapter 2. Now, this is one that it pains me to put in second place because I just love this movie so much. Going into the theater, I was a little nervous because I really wanted them to push things. I wanted them to push the scares. I wanted them to kind of give us some good casting, and I just wanted more to this film than we got from It Chapter 2. Honestly, for me, I love this film. Like, this film didn't disappoint at all. We got twice the scares, perfect casting, and honestly, it was just a great movie. Now, there are a few problems I do have with this movie, and We'll get to that in a minute, but honestly, I just love the casting. Like, the casting was perfect. Like, Jessica Chastain, or whatever her name is, as Beverly Marsh, she was perfect. They casted her perfectly. Bill Hader as Richie, he was like the best character. Like, Bill Hader in this movie was the best character. He was always stealing the scenes with his comedic take, and even just like the all around, like the emotion. Even he had quite a bit of emotion and comedic take in this movie. James McAvoy as Bill, perfect casting. He kind of has that emotion that Bill had in the first movie, and I just think it works very wellly. We got some other casting members like Isaiah Mustafa. I don't know, that's a pretty cool last name, but apparently I didn't know this, but apparently he was in those. Apparently this was the guy from those deodorant Spice whatever commercials, and like he did a pretty good, and like everybody loved his commercials because he was pretty funny. And honestly, I just love this movie. Like, this movie, it was just so amazing. But now it pains me to put this in second place because I love this movie so much, but something had to be second. And another reason I do have this in second, I'll go ahead and get into the negatives, is I'm gonna go ahead and talk about everybody's big elephant in the theater, and that is Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. He does a perfect job, but when I talk about the elephant in the theater, Pennywise, he wasn't in it enough. He was only in it, like, if you edited his scenes together, he was in it like for like 15 minutes, and that was just like one problem I had with this movie. Like, going into this movie, I wanted twice the amount of stuff we got in the first one. I wanted double the scares, double the great casting, and double the all-around stuff. They do a great job of doing that, but then they actually take away some of Pennywise's screen time. That kind of takes me out of the film a little bit, because Pennywise, he's like the main character of this whole movie, and he wasn't in it enough. That's part of the reason why I only have this in second place. Another thing I want to talk about is the runtime. A lot of people complain that it was just... Oh, sorry, that's my talking. I don't know, I have this clock, and every time it switches back to a time, it always goes off, but just ignore that. What was that? Oh yeah, the screen time. Everybody has been complaining about the screen time, and like, I don't really get it. Like, everybody's been complaining that this movie is too long for the story. I don't agree. I actually think that it's perfect screen time because we get to spend more time with our characters a little. Honestly, this is one that I just really love. It pains me to put it in second place, but something had to be second, so It Chapter 2 comes in at number 2. But at number 1 for me, I gotta go with It Chapter 1, or It 2017. I call it It 2017, but it's also called It Chapter 1, so I don't know. This movie was freaking amazing. I just saw this like last week, and this is already probably my favorite horror movie of all time. It's this great friendship movie. It's a really good coming of age story. It's kind of a movie, if you've ever seen Stand By Me, an 80s movie about like a movie specifically about this group of kids, just like the moments you have with those friends you have from like when you're 12 or 13, right before you go into middle school. And I just think they knock it out of the park with this movie. Like, Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, perfect casting. He plays Pennywise so amazingly. I love the final battle of this movie, just like Loser Club versus Pennywise. It works so well. The CGI is perfect in this movie. Also, another thing with It Chapter 2, I felt like, because the It Chapter 1 CGI was so perfect, and It Chapter 2 CGI, I felt like they could have tried a little harder, but it wasn't as good. But I just love this movie. I love It Chapter 1. Honestly, out of all of the It franchise, I'm probably most likely to watch this one and It Chapter 2. I just love these two movies. It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2, these were two movies that I was kind of arguing with myself over which one's going to be first and which one's going to be second. But if I had to come down to it, for me, first place is going to be this great coming-of-age story, friendship movie, It Chapter 1. It's also a great horror movie. The scares in this movie are perfect. But anyway, that was my ranking of all three It movies from the worst to the best. Please be sure to leave your ranking down in the comments below if you have seen all three of these movies. If you haven't seen It Chapter 2 yet, just leave your ranking of the two other ones. But anyway, thanks for watching, and peace out.